So hi and welcome back. Let's turn the camera around on me. Okay, so off out for a walk and I've got the Pentax MV with me and I'm testing it out, and I've done a little thing about the manual, and I'm just going to come to something in a couple of seconds, things I've missed off, but I did that because I filmed that before this. And this little walk, I don't think you've done this walk with me before, but it's really nice. And you think you're like miles away from nowhere, you're actually not. We're right next to some houses and there's a field over that way, so we're just going to walk through. I'm going to take some shots now. In fact, when I tested the Lucky film, the rest of this Lucky film I've got in the camera now, I actually took a shot down here, and that was before the leaves started to come back. And the one thing I do love is spring. I love spring and summer. It's my birthday in a few days, so looking forward to that as well. I won't get drunk, I promise. Okay, so let's take a quick look around this Pentax MV, and it's the most basic 35mm camera SLR that I know, and I love using it. It's a real delight, and it's kind of got some real quirkiness about it, which I'm going to show you now. One of the things is the exposure compensation, which I discovered it kind of has but doesn't have. Okay, so obviously it's I believe they're called M mount lenses and not the K mounts. They're very different, and this had this really funny strange knobble on the end here. You can see the knobble there. Now what that does is when you take the lens off, it actually lines up from where the release button is for the actual lens itself. So that lines up there. Now the funny thing is, underneath this there's a tiny red dot that's really hidden, that's meant to line up as well, and it's really silly. I don't know if I can show you that. Let's try and take this off. But you can see under there's a red dot, which is kind of weird, and then you put that one to that one there, but you may as well just use the knob here and then put it back on like so. Okay, so let's just quick look at the lens, and it's an f1.7, and it's kind of weird because with the focusing on this, it works back to front of the other, my Canons, my whatever it might be. These work back to front, which is kind of strange. So there you go. It's an f1.7 to f22. That 0.1 of a more is a lot more, isn't it? So let's look at the different functions of the camera. And I'm actually working with 100 ISO film. Now what I'm doing is, because obviously I've said earlier on in the video that I'm testing this camera, I'm putting the Lucky film in it, and I haven't done that yet. So this bit has been recorded first, but it's actually going to be second on the video. So it's set to 100 ISO for that. Now it doesn't have it does have exposure compensation, because you have to lift this up, and then underneath here, I don't know if you can see that there's like a plus, a dot and a minus, and that's meant to be your exposure compensation. So yeah, but someone who is a photographer who understands the way the light is, you probably don't need exposure compensation. Now, and then you basically lift the dial and then turn it around to change your ISO. Now, this one obviously has a dedicated flash. I didn't really look into it too much, but it has no like a synchronization place where you can synchronize to a set of flashlights. So you're going to need one of these things, which I already have, and I use this actually for a different purpose, but I have one anyway. I've had one for quite a few years. So its flash sync speed is 100th of a second. It's got a bulb and automatic. Just so you know, it goes from 1 second to 1,000th of a second, and obviously it's literally auto. You have no visible resemblance of that. You have nothing that's telling you what your shutter speed is at all. You are basically just using your aperture, and there is a red, green and amber light. So amber is under, green is on, and then red is over. And it's basically just like, it actually kind of looks like a traffic light with a kind of like frosted look to it. It's kind of strange. It's on the left hand side of the actual viewfinder. And then you've obviously got the exposure count here on the top right hand corner. And so just looking at the bottom, we've got where the battery goes. It's two LR44 batteries, and then you have the rewind button. And one of the things in the manual, it talks about how to do a double exposure by pushing in the actual button here, making sure everything's held in place, and then doing a wind to wind on the actual frame so the camera resets but the frame doesn't move at all. So it's all kind of fun and very old school, as it were. Okay, there's not really much more to say about this camera, really, to be honest with you. It's very, very basic. As I say, it's between 1 second and 1,000th of a second. You don't get a choice. You can only open up and close down your aperture. And as I say, the funny thing I find is that it actually focuses the other way to the other lenses. And it's an M, I believe it's an M mount, isn't it? They call them M mounts, don't they? Rather than the K mounts. So what did I forget to tell you on the actual other part of the video? Well, it's actually got a fitting, so you can actually use a cable release here. So when you go into bulb, at least you don't have to keep your finger on the button. And I've got to say, it runs between 32 ISO and 1600 ISO, which has been about right for the time when this was made. Most cameras back then didn't go up to 3200. So yeah, you can only work within those bounds. Otherwise, you're using a handheld light meter, but you can't do that because you don't know what your shutter speed's going to be, do you? So I don't know actually what I'm going to photograph, and that's why you're not going to see the actual results on this video. But the simple fact of the matter is, I'm probably going to take all the shots. I'm not going to use up all the film, and I want to get a video out for you to see, and then we can go through the results on another video. But I will see what I can do. But there's not much when you have like just green and the colour of the trees. There's not really much in the way of contrast to take a really stonkingly good shot, but I'm going to give it a go anyway, and we're going to see what we're going to get as we go around. So the issue you have with the MV is the fact that you have no clue, no indication of what your shutter speed is, and unlike the MV1, it also doesn't have a self timer on the front. I noticed that on a picture I was looking at earlier on. So if you want the basic, I mean, I remember years ago, a family friend gave their wife one of the Praktica BXs or one of the B cameras, because literally if it was green it meant you could take a photograph. And do you really need more than that? If you're just someone who wants that little bit better, something more than like a compact camera, you know, and have the actual ability to be able to change lenses and things like that. I think it's honestly a good way. I think it's actually really nice. Very basic. Do I need to know the actual shutter speed? Well, it doesn't record it like a modern digital camera, does it? Anyway, take a few more shots and we'll... So I think the funny thing is I'm pretty much taking every shot at f8, and it's saying it's in the green zone, so it's probably anywhere between 125th at f8 and 1000th at f8, but I think it's probably somewhere in between that anyway. But yeah, I've taken a few shots, some of the blossom, and what I did is I tried to get one piece of blossom and then all the rest of it behind it, so at an angle where it would be out of focus and lovely bouquet, as they say. So I'm trying my best, and it's difficult when you film like this and there's people coming. I think one of the things, as you can see, is it's a beautiful bright day, and we've got a beautiful blue sky. We've got a few vapor trails going up there, so I might actually, that'd be a nice shot to get. So I think I'll get a shot of the top of those trees with those vapor trails in the background, or are they chemtrails? It depends on how conspiratorial you are. What I'm going to do is, from this video, I'm going to take a screenshot of this, or take a snapshot from the video, and then turn it into black and white and see what it comes up with. I would have thought it would have been visible on the film, but I don't know for sure. It would have been really lovely to have had a red filter on this camera, and guess what? I've got one that fits it at home. Wonderful. So of course I forgot to do that, but that looks quite amazing, and it's using the I'm trying to use things that are more abstract as well in my photography. When I did that photograph of that housing estate in London, I was trying to be more abstract about that and be a bit more creative. And I get really inspired by these young photographers who do lots of digital and film photography, and they just are out there and just taking shots, and they're really thinking about what they're doing. And I need to get that back. I had it when I was that young. I'm now 59 next week, so I'm going to try and be more creative. Now I've got to take a photograph of obviously the life belt as it's coming up here, because you know what I'm like with reds and life belts and things like that, so I'm going to get a photograph of that as well. Yeah, I was getting all inspired and the camera's broken. It's not winding properly, so I've got about 4 or 5 shots. I'm out for this walk and that's it. I don't know what's causing it. It's to do with the teeth that load onto the actual spool. So yeah, I'm going to get the rest of this up. I'm going to get the rest of this film out of here, and then we'll get it developed in a couple of days. Anyway, that's a real pity because I really love this little camera. Mind you, they're not that expensive on eBay, so I might get another one.